Hampton Rhodes has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome to another edition of 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe wherever you're tuning in from, be it YouTube, IG, Facebook, VirginiaPreps.com, or watching through Cox Communications and YurView. We welcome all of you, Ed, as it is now time for, as Jim Moore would say, playoffs? You kidding me? The high school football playoffs are here. What better time, huh?
Well, this is what they play for, a whole regular season to position yourself for playoff time. So here we go.
But let's hope the kiddies out there can behave themselves better than those juveniles that you've been watching at the rink on the ice there at Norfolk Scope. I think you instigated all of that. You started it. I mean, I don't know if you can finish it, but knowing you, yeah, I think you're the reason why they're throwing down and fisticuffs are happening. Yeah.
Yeah, they threw down the gloves off, going crazy, and the kids, little kiddies were telling them, fight, fight, fight. Unbelievable.
Yep. And Ed Young was there, a part of the chants with those little kiddies. All right, we're going to go in this segment, classes 6 through 4, 6, 5, and 4. We'll do at the very end, classes 3, 2, and 1 for the VHSL football playoffs, which get underway this week. All 6 classifications, all 24 regions, 4 regions per class. There's 184 schools in the postseason, whether Ed likes that or not. That's up for your own, decision, discretion, whatever you want to call it. But let's go through class 6, region A, shall we? We got the defending state champs in that region.
Yeah, I'm looking at Oscar Smith and Dale obviously are getting buys at 9-1. Manchester, a very good team at 9-1, has to play that first round. And Bird and Branch records looking the same, obviously. As I look at this off the top of my head, it's going to be Smith, and I'm going to go Dale over Manchester.
Really?
I think Smith wins it, yes. And I know you're probably going to say something different. So what saith you on this bracket right here?
I think you're prisoner of the moment recency bias here. You might be right when it's all said and done, but let me remind you that Manchester and Dale have met now 5 times in the postseason since 2017, and Manchester has won every one of those encounters, including last year, 18-7. So if Dale beats them, it'll be something they haven't done head-to-head since 2010. And that was a regular season game, not a playoff matchup. It can happen, but you're reacting to Manchester getting beat pretty soundly, as a lot of people are, by Huguenot in Friday night's regular season finale in Richmond. Bird Western Branch shifted because of Western Branch's loss to Oscar Smith. Got an early lead, and they didn't hold it in that particular ball game. But, Ed, I think it's going to be hard for either one of those teams to get to Oscar Smith and have a chance. Certainly this is not the same Bird team that lost in the state semis last year in Class 5 to Briar Woods. Manchester has a really good 4-year starting quarterback in Landon Abernathy. They're built the best of these 6 teams to give Oscar Smith a go. But let's just be perfectly honest here. The Tigers, they're the dynasty in a lot of ways in Virginia high school football. They're the gold standard. They had it during the days of Rich Morgan, the late, great Bill D., Scott Johnson, and Chris Scott has won 3 state titles, somewhat quietly because 2 of them came during the COVID year in the same calendar year. Last year's thriller at James Madison over Madison High School from Vienna with that heroic finish. Lonnie Andrews, then a sophomore, led him down the field. The UVA commit and Travis Johnson, the 4-star Michigan commit. That's the dynamic duo. I think they outlast Manchester in the region championship there.
Well, we agree on Smith for at least that part.
All right, 6B. Take us through it.
Right off the bat, we're looking at Colonial Forge, number 1 seed at 9-1, Battlefield 9-1. Also, you got Woodbridge at 9-1. That battle, Woodbridge Patriot 4-5, Classic 4-5. If 5 Patriot can win that, to me, it's not a major upset. North Stafford is the power that's sputtered in a couple close games, which you will let us know about that. I'm saying Colonial Forge, Battlefield at the end. Give me Forge.
Not a bad pick. The Bobcats of Battlefield are coached by Greg Hatfield, my cousin, not really, but he has the same last name. And a former state title winning head coach as an offensive coordinator in Chris Haddock, coached at Centerville. By the way, speaking of state title winning coaches, how about Mickey Thompson, the OC at Independence? He won championships at Stonebridge. So that'd be a neat little matchup if we get it, Battlefield Independence. But you nailed it. This region's got a lot of talent. Last year, 5 of the 7 playoff games were won by the road team, including then a number 6 Colonial Forge, beating a number 5 in Patriot in the region championship on Thanksgiving weekend. Patriot's still a 5. They've got Sherman Rivers' son, a freshman at quarterback. I think Woodbridge has a little bit too much for them. Woodbridge and Colonial Forge would be a great second-round game, and North Stafford, like you highlighted, lost 2 one-point games at the very end to Battlefield and Colonial Forge this year. I'm going to go Forge over North Stafford. Ethan Stowell has filled in for Callum O'Shea, the Richmond commit, at quarterback for Battlefield. O'Shea hurt earlier this year for the season, game 1, but I'm going to go with Forge. They just know how to get there, and we'll see how it will shake out for states here in a moment. Let's go to Class 6C. That's the Occoquan region, where West Springfield was not on the radar of a lot of people at the season start, Ed, but they knocked off Lake Braddock, rallying from a double-digit deficit to get the number 1 seed.
Yeah, this region overall, I don't know if they have a lot of 7-3s looking at you right there. I don't think they're as glamorous as the region we just went through. But I'm looking at this and thinking West Springfield should survive it. First round, pretty easy. Second round, somewhat. I think they get to the final. And now it's going to be interesting which one of those 7-3s. And I'll be honest with you. You know more than me. Any one of them can come out. I'm going to hang with South County.
Really?
I may change to Lake Braddock later, but at this moment right now, I've got West Springfield over South County.
Well, South County's a hot team, just like West Springfield. Has 7 straight wins for the Spartans of West Springfield, and South County finished up well. Trevion Campbell's one of the state's leading receivers. But I'm going to go here with a rematch of West Springfield and Lake Braddock in the region final. Love the running back, the junior Dylan Booby Wickham for West Springfield. Their quarterback's also been really good in Mr. Scotty Lewis, the senior. I just think Lake Braddock, though, despite the injury to their running back, will get there. They're 2-time defending region champs. I think Coach Mike Doherty will have them ready, and the Norfolk State commit Ty Jackson at quarterback will step it up. They had that game in the bag, and they let it slip away. I think they get the rematch and revenge. I'll take the 3 seed to win that region. Then here's 6D, where you have the Concord and Liberty districts. They decided to seed it by districts here. Centerville, coached by John Shields, his son Will, the player of the year. Going to Albany at quarterback. He's tremendous. Madison's, they've been to the state championship a few different times here under Justin Counts, Ed, new group, but they're battle-tested. Westfield, also a team that's been in the state championship many times before. It feels like those Concord teams are a little bit more battle-tested and stronger than the Liberty teams. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that, because I'll tell you what you can look for is Madison knocking off Langley as an upset, and it's a 3-2, but you can look for that. And I'm not opposed to South Lakes, team I've always liked, maybe knocking off a pretty good Yorktown team, which puts us at all the Concord teams maybe advancing with Centerville, Westfield. I'm going to stick with them in the final. Well, I tell you what, I almost want to go Westfield over Centerville for the final.
Westfield has to get through that first-round game with Washington Liberty. They lost to them 14-13 back on September 19th. But I'm with you. I think it's Centerville, Westfield in the final, and I lean right now ever so closely with Centerville unless Malachi Lee has a breakout game, monster performance, and Wesley Flamer, the defensive stud, the linebacker, is able to lead the way. Let's go to Class 5, Region A, shall we? By the way, real quickly, 6D is going to host 6A. 6B is going to host 6C in the state semis. Your final is going to be at JMU December 13th at 11:30 a.m. Hope to be there and on the call on the NFHS network. How about Region 5A, Ed? Everybody's chasing the Green Run Stallions. Brandon Williams' team with a 5th consecutive unbeaten regular season, and here they are, the prohibited favorite. Bayside Salem's a rematch. So too is Cox and Kellum. And, oh, by the way, Indian River and Kempsville, rematch from last year's first round. Braves of Indian River won that. Salem won last year's first round game over Bayside in a 3-6 hole.
I got a feeling, I know coaches, I hope none of them are going to hear this. Green Run's toughest opponent in this region will be themselves. If they get complacent and don't play up to par, they got a couple teams in here that can really worry them. That Cox team has really, really progressed and peaked at the right time and will not take a backseat to anybody. Indian River is athletic as they come. And here I don't want to give any love to Kempsville, and I didn't say a whole lot about Bayside Salem. I'm going Green Run to win this, and I'm thinking they're going to play Cox in final.
All right. I don't disagree. But I'm going to go Indian River at Green Run and Green Run winning it. We'll hear from Coach Tyler Noe of the Cox Falcons later on in the show. And watch out, game changers. You got the freshman quarterback at Indian River, Lord Malik Carew, Aaron Smith, the junior receiver from Kellum, another game changer in that region. Region 5B, Kings Fork got the 1 seed over Maury based on power points, but fair to say the two-time defending state champs under Doree McCain are the favorites to get out of here?
Yeah, it didn't matter. You could give Maury 82nd seed. They're coming through this. Kings Fork will give them a battle. Kings Fork will romp in the first game. Nansemond River, without their starting quarterback, has been big for them.
If he's out, because I hear he might be trying to come back, the Syracuse commit Tyrell Grant Jr., he missed the Kings Fork game, but that's a big if for them because if he plays, I think they beat Bethel. If he doesn't, they don't win that game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he plays, is he going to be 100%? Is 75% better than nothing? Bethel could give them a scare. I just still say it comes down to Kings Fork, Maury. In the final, give me Maury.
Game changer again, Amari Pryor, 2,000-plus yards, recent Chicho's Pizza Player of the Week for the Bethel Bruins. He can be a game changer. And that Warwick defense is for real. Question is, can they slow the Maury offense? They haven't in the past. I'm not sure they do it in the future. Going to 5C. Patrick Henry Roanoke is the 1 seed, Ed 10-0, but I think people are circling Highland Springs despite their scare with Hanover as the team to beat just because of Lauren Johnson and the Springers' tradition and history and pedigree. They got running options with the quarterback, Buddy Richardson and Eric Bird in the backfield. But Hermitage is a very live 5 seed here, very live.
You know, I hate to say this, Patrick Henry Roanoke, congrats on being undefeated in the playoff, but I got a small feeling your first loss is going to come in the playoffs. They'll win first round. They're going to have a heck of a tough time in that second round. And I do think Hermitage wins that and knocks off Patrick Henry. So I'm going to go Springs over Hermitage in the final.
I would give Glen Allen more of a chance if they had a healthy quarterback, Ralphie Puccinelli, who's very good. But without him, it's hard to see them winning against Highland Springs. William Fleming's not getting enough love. They lost to PH relatively close this year. Watch out for Kai Stillman. He is a ball player, and he can take over a game and perhaps a postseason. 5D, what do you think? Collision course coming on Turkey Day weekend?
Let's jump to the semifinals. I just think that's what the game is. Two extremely good teams, two teams that have a shot at going real far. Stonebridge, Riverbend, and I think the old Stonebridge comes back and takes us. I know Riverbend, you're undefeated, and very good grade line playing that. Give me Stonebridge.
Stonebridge, great defense. They're not giving up more than 20 points in any game this year, and they've held literally everybody but one team to 7 points or less. That one team that beat them was Quince Orchard, and Riverbend's been putting up 50-plus points a game this year with Ian Shook leading the way with that offense and Camden Simmons. I got Stonebridge advancing out of there as well. Go to 4A, where you have the Hampton Crabbers as the number 1 seed. Are they going to get out of this, or can Lafayette, even reigning 4-time state champ Phoebus, keep them from that dream?
Man, I don't want to say my voice won't let me say, we're looking at Hampton and Lafayette in the final. We're going to overlook Phoebus because they have 3 losses. I think Phoebus will wake up and knock off Hampton in the semi.
Do you? Okay.
And that just came in my head right now because I cannot see myself saying no to Phoebus. I don't know why. Not as strong as they've been. Hampton has played extremely well. But I guess the old part of me, I'm going to go with my heart instead of my head. I think Phoebus comes out of here probably against Lafayette.
I don't see it. I don't think the defense has corrected enough. I think Jeremy Blunt's doing a great job with what he has, but he lost so many seniors last year. I think 18 starters total. I don't see it happening. I think Hampton has too much on the line. With the quarterback, Marcus Chapman, we heard from Gene Jones a couple weeks back, the UVA commit up front for them, Gavin Kay, a 2-sport stud, Abraham Taft. Just too much. Warhill Smithfield's an interesting first-round game, and we'll hear from Coach Jerome Rhodes a little bit later on here in the program about that rematch they lost to your Packers of Smithfield. Lafayette, I'm leaning with them right now over Hampton in the region final. I think their defense is built a little bit better than Hampton's defense right now. Remember, Hampton had to survive a shootout, high-scoring affair with Bethel on Thursday night. I like the Lafayette defense just quietly getting the job done. Even the loss they had to Pocosin, it wasn't because of defense, it was because of turnovers. They rectify that, they win, they move on. So let's go to 4B. Best region in the state, hands down, Ed. You got a 7-3 8 seed, an 8-2 7 seed, and oh, by the way, Veronica's the 4 seed. We've had them number 1 in the state all year long in Class 4.
Yeah, there's some teams. There's some ball players here. There's some teams, outstanding coaches. I think it comes down to, Dinwiddie gets her first loss in the playoff, and I think Louisa gets their first loss, but I think they lose to Verona in the championship.
So you got Verona and Huguenot Oh, you got Verona and Louisa. Verona and Louisa.
Yep.
Wow. I'm almost looking the other direction, thinking it's going to be Verona and Huguenot, but I keep changing my mind. Dinwiddie, Billy Mills is as great a coach as there is. He lost Harry Dalton to USC, but here they are with Zion Boyceau and a lot of good ball players, both sides of the ball. That Verona defensive line to me is just a difference-making unit. And by the way, Louisa's got the 5-star going to Michigan and Savion Hyder, the 4-star Rutgers commit, Daisier Carter. My, oh my, that'd be something else if it's Louisa hosting Verona. But any one of those 4 can win the state championship. And whoever comes out of this region is going to win the state championship. I have no problem going on record saying that right now. 4C, what you got?
I'm going to stick with what I've always liked, and I liked it last year. We're going to have a battle of the Loudons. Loudoun County and the Valley are going to play for the championship.
Well, they met earlier this year, and Loudoun County was able to win that regular season encounter by a count of 31-7 back on October 10th. I think we get a repeat, maybe a little closer this time, but I got County over Valley in the region final there. And 4D, no Salem Spartans. How stunning is that? No Salem, a perennial power. But GW Danville is there after that 50-49 double overtime win over Magna Vista. So too is John Hanley. I got Jefferson Forest, the 3 seed winning this region. What says you?
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. I've got Danville beating Forest in the championship with Hanley. Got something to say.
All right, there you have it. Those are the brackets for Class 6 through Class 4. And when we come back, we've got more coming your way, including our man Robert Anderson catching up with the one and only Brody Dawyot of the Glenvar Highlanders, VHSL career touchdown pass record holder now, about his commitment to Charlotte and setting that mark earlier this season. It's all coming your way. You're watching 757 Sports Talk with us on COVA Sports TV. Brody Dawyot, 123 touchdown passes and counting as he broke a record. There's been some really good ones from the 757. He's actually in hot pursuit of Ronald Curry's career touchdown responsibility record, he of the Hampton Crabbers from the 1990s, but records that Philip Sims and Sean Mitchell have held, and this one most recently set by Tristan Evans, the quarterback from Freedom Woodbridge. He got 119, I think it was, but Dawyot with 123 and counting. And our man Robert was able to catch up real quick with Dawyot about that and also his recruitment, because he's presently committed to Charlotte, has an offer from UVA. He chats about that. Really quick sound bites that we got with Brody. So here they are in the coach's office at Glenvar High School with Kevin Clifford, our number 1 ranked team in Class 2. Dawyot about becoming the new VHSL career touchdown pass record holder.
All right. Well, I know you just broke the Virginia High School career touchdown pass record. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You have an older brother who has a state championship and a sister with one, and you don't have one yet. So how's that been around the house?
I mean, it's been good around the house. I mean, they're still encouraging me to keep working and hopefully join along with that. But we're just taking it one game at a time right now.
You came pretty close last year. I know if that semifinal game had been different, the odds are you would have maybe won the championship. How much has that stuck with you, and what kind of motivation are you using that for this year?
I mean, I feel like it stuck with me a lot, but I mean, it mostly stuck with our whole returning team. Just, I mean, it motivates us every day. We want to get out there and work so that doesn't happen again. So hopefully we can just take it one game at a time and hopefully be in that situation again.
That linger on a little bit, or did you get that out of your system pretty quickly? I
mean, it definitely lingered on a little bit, left a sour taste in my mouth, but I mean, it's just it is what it is. It's in the past. So, I mean, I live by everything happens for a reason. So I feel like that was just my motivation for my senior year.
And here's more with Brody Dawyot and Robert Anderson discussing his recruitment. Headed to Charlotte, even though UVA and others are sniffing around.
Let's talk about your recruiting a little bit. You've committed to Charlotte, and I know some other schools have maybe jumped in and expressed some interest. Where does it stand, right now?
Well, I mean, I'm still 100% committed to Charlotte. I mean, they've always been there. They've always believed in me since the first day they started reaching out to me. And, I mean, I appreciate all these other schools reaching out to me. I mean, it means a lot just for all them believing in me. But I'm still 100% committed to Charlotte.
You're going to graduate soon, graduate early. That's the plan. What's your timetable on getting your college career started?
I mean, I'm going in there, I think, sometime in January, either early to mid-January. I'm going in there enrolling, taking 15 hours of classes and starting spring ball, working out with them, just getting to know the field, just getting to know the playbook. So hopefully that leads leads on to special stuff for my freshman year.
College football's landscape's changed a lot. Recruiting's changed. The transfer portal's changed a lot of things. I mean, is Charlotte a school that recruits a lot of freshmen, or how a mix of both, transfers, freshmen? How does it look?
I think they go in the transfer portal a little bit, but I feel like they mainly just go to some high schoolers. So, I mean, this year we have, I think, right around 16 to 18 freshmen that are coming in, and then, I mean, of course, we have a couple transfer portals that are coming in, but I feel like they mainly just look at high schoolers.
Now, at your size, I know you could play defense maybe, or are you going in as a quarterback?
I'm going as an offensive athlete, so yes, I'm going to start off in the quarterback room, but they also said they're going to look at me as like a tight end, so we're just going to see where the wind takes me.
See where the wind takes him. That was Brody Dawyot of Glenvar High School, the Highlanders' all-time record setter in Virginia high school history now in touchdown passes. And he's chasing the touchdown responsibility record because he's gotten some on defense, too, at his defensive end. A couple quick things I want to throw your way. And you've coached college ball on the basketball front than football. Is this like the worst nightmare for the coaches at Charlotte saying, oh, no, he's getting all this statewide attention. How do we secure and keep this kid now? Is that the biggest fear they're going through at this moment?
Absolutely. No question about it. And I thought of that watching that interview that, okay, you got all these schools now, especially from the state, a little bit higher prestige than a Charlotte, and looking at them. I loved his answer. I'm 100% committed. They've been on me for a while. In this day and age of money, and I still think money talks, that's rare to see. It's these kids usually have their big eyes towards the big Division Ones. They think they're going to go there and become the all-time.
Sure.
And, of course, now it's, well, whoever can show me the most money. And I still think that is the big draw for most kids is what can you pay me? Parents stepping in there, too, and saying it. If that kid keeps his commitment to Charlotte, regardless of what happens, and who steps up and gives them an outright offer, that's good. And like I've always told kids, you've got to look hard at the people that have been with you for a while and have said, look, this is where we see you fitting in. Now, the question on the other end is Charlotte committed 100% to him, and they don't see somebody else that they're saying, wait a minute, he's a little bit better than that Brody kid. Maybe we get them both, and then we just throw them to the wolves and see who survives, because colleges will do that. And you don't know necessarily as a player who else are they recruiting. They may tell you, you're our number one on the board, we got to have you. Meanwhile, the next day they're telling somebody else the same thing. That's the problem with recruiting. It's a game. It's definitely a game. Good point made also is, are they portal type team, going there and get kids out of the portal, or are they going to go and try to build with freshmen? Most schools now, you're not building with freshmen. If you got kids in the portal that you can get, and Charlotte's one of those type of teams, their best players every year, I'll say 90% of the time, are going to go into portal. They're going to be taken by somebody else. They're
being plucked by somebody else. Yep.
Yes, that's what's going to happen, which give credence to an incoming freshman, high school freshman. Now you might get a lot of good reps because, as you and I both know, over the past years, for centuries, most high school freshmen, when they go into college, are redshirted that first year. Get your academics straight, get bulked up, learn the system, especially if you're a quarterback, offensive player, learn the system. Then you still have your years. But again, depending on what the portal does to you now, that's not a guarantee anymore. And it is interesting that the kid has done tremendous at quarterback, but they're looking at him as possibly, as Brody said, offensive player. I may be in a tight end room. I may be a running back. Who knows? And then, as you stated, the kid can play defensive end, which I never think of a quarterback on offense being a defensive lineman on the other side. Right. It usually is maybe a linebacker, a safety or whatever, but not a defensive lineman. Sure. So,
well, that's how more often people realize sometimes a player gets recruited for a certain position and they'll switch his position. Virginia Tech was famous for that when Frank Beamer was there. You think Greg Boone, one of those guys that comes to mind playing tight end. Bucky Hodges, another guy, same thing from Salem, and Oscar Smith there. Those two guys. And even happens in basketball too. A guy might be recruited to play the 2, he ends up playing a 3 or something like that. Shooting guard, small forward type of deal. But it's going to be. And now he's trying to get the state championship, like his brother, who you got a chance to call his brother's state championship, Owen Dawyot, for Cave Spring when they beat Petersburg. And his sister's got one in volleyball, so he's trying to get the rings to stay in the family and keep the conversation saying I'm a champion too. Came close last year, and Graham got him in a fourth quarter comeback.
And I'm telling you, the deeper he goes in the playoffs, the more those schools will jump in and say, "Hey, wait a minute! Look where we are. Charlotte, especially in state schools, they'll throw that. Well, we're in state. This is where you want to go. Your family come and see you play, and we're higher Division I, and we play a better schedule. They'll throw all kind of stuff to kind of get you out of that commitment. But like I've said, I'd like to see kids keep their commitment. And the one, my own personal one, Don Charles Bright, was a great point guard for me. He had committed them out all of them. And then all of a sudden, University of Jacksonville, Division I, jumped in and said, "Hey, we want you." And I told them, I said, "Well, the kids already committed them out all of them. Hey, Coach, we're Division I." I said, "I know what you are, but I also know you haven't been around." So, this team has been on him. We visited. He likes their style of play. Long story short, he committed them out all of them. He did not change it. Had a great career there. And now he's still playing pro ball in Brazil, and he never second-guessed it at all. And I said, you could have went Division I. They would have paid for it. Why not? He said, "Coach, why weren't they on me before? I ain't changed, And they gave me this crap because they didn't get their number one guy. So now they run into me where I was always Mount Olive's number one guy, and that's how they treated me. And I'm like blown away because kids don't talk that way or think that way. But I was tremendously ecstatic that he kept his commitment. Even though it was a Division II against a Division I, he still did it for the right reasons, still got his education and all that. And he's playing pro ball, and he's happy as can be in Brazil.
A few weeks ago on the show, after his commitment to Army, your kicker, Bryson Whithelm, who's had a heck of a year. In fact, 8 field goals made, which I think is more than Drew Jarrett had, who was one of the all-time kickers to come out of the 757 in Virginia. And he said something that was interesting that stuck with me. I asked him about, you guys were getting ready to play. I forget who it was at that time of the year. It might have been Tallwood or forget, doesn't matter. It's really not that meaningful. But the thing I asked him was the last couple of years you've had some heartbreak. And he said, well, I think this could be different because the last couple of years we've had some injuries and the maturity of hearing that from a kicker, sometimes they're not involved with the plays, but to hear that, the guys that are returning, did you get that sense as you guys started to pick up a couple of wins, close wins, you're showing improvement in areas that maybe this team has learned from the adversity you've dealt with, be it this year or in the past, to help you on this playoff journey?
Yeah, I think so. This senior class actually just overtook last year's senior class as the most winnings class in Cox history. And we have a lot of guys that have been starters for 3 years on this team, and they're razor focused in. And like you said, Bryson, yes, he is our kicker and punter and the best in the state, I believe. But he is focused in the game plan. He's at practice. He's talking to us about things that he sees on film. He breaks down his own film for special teams. He breaks down film so we can see things on offense and defense. And this team has just come together so much over the past couple of weeks that I do believe that they've seen the heartbreak in the playoffs. And it's been tough, but I think this team has the leadership ability to continue 1 week at a time, but hopefully, continuing on after this week.
For sure. We're talking about Tyler Noe. He's the head football coach of the Cox Falcons. 8-2 on the season, 6 straight wins, and a victory over Kempsville on Friday night, 31-28, to secure the number 2 seed in Region 5A. It's our interview with him on Global Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. You're watching 757 Sports Talk. Ed?
Tyler, one thing I want to know, and you say variation of the triple option, which is probably pretty tough to defend. When you're putting your system together, I know in relationship to basketball, and let's say I want to be a running team. We're going to press all over, run and one. That's how I coach. Well, if you have a team that can't run, that system don't work. You have to adjust to the style player you have. In football, is that the same mentality, or can you make what you have adjust to a version of your triple option?
So I believe that triple option is so good because you leave 2 guys alone, so it's 11 on 9, and that gives us the advantage so we can get double T blocks. And we don't have the biggest line. That's the other thing. Like, we can't move guys as well as other teams can in the Beach District, right? So we need those double team blocks. We need to leave guys alone. So as long as you have a smart line, a smart quarterback, and read the read key and the pitch key, I think we can adapt to anybody we have, our style of play. We've done it since Coach Stack was the head coach and I was an assistant for him. So it's really what I know and what our assistants know. So we get really good at it, and we practice it every single day, and we just mold it to the guys we have, like you said. But it's basically we don't have the biggest line. We can't run so a team like Coach Cherry can't at Kempsville, right? Because they got a big line. But we're athletic at the line. We know what we're doing, and we just it's repetition.
And for people that maybe don't know, but in your triple option in the simplest form, it allows your quarterback to either run it himself, throw it, or he can pitch it last minute, which means the defense really got to – if they think they know one thing and all of a sudden something else happens, that's how you get your yardage. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. That is correct. Yeah, we have a run key to hand the ball off, or he'll keep it and he'll pitch off the pitch key, which is usually an outside linebacker or a roll down safety. But it's just to keep the defense guessing. If we make sure that we're right, and they guess, and we just Tyree Jeffries with this, he's had 5 straight games with over 100 yards rushing. So we are, I think, one of the only teams in the area, if not the state, that runs it. So it's pretty hard to defend, from what I hear. So we just keep it rolling.
And Coach, to follow up on that a little bit, you touched on Tyree Jeffrey's success. We hit on your kicker and Bryson, what he's done. But you've had so many players and unsung heroes on this team that have contributed. Some linemen, some defensive guys that are making tackles that people don't get the attention, the limelight, the shine, if you will. I know Grady Swango has stepped up in a big way, not just catching the football, but running it for you. Jacob Palmerton with a couple of interceptions for you on defense.
2 big picks last night.
Yeah, so he's really made himself one of the better consistent defenders. I remember him made some key plays for you last year. Just speak on some of those guys that have stepped up for you, and it could be, Jacob, Grady. Name some of the players that have helped you on this run here as you try to keep it going for the playoffs.
Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our whole offensive line, from our left tackle, Isaac Tomas, left guard, Redding Perry, center Jordan Van, right guard, James Cornelius, and our right tackle, Ian McClure. They've really stepped up in a big way for us this year. Then, we go on. Zane Perry, one of our seniors, got a touchdown last night, got a touchdown pass. Our receivers, Elijah Bird and Alex Neff, Rex Miller, slot safety at the beginning of the year, but we had to bring him down when Lincoln Nicosia got hurt. He's playing linebacker for us. It's just, there's so many to name. Elias Field plays safety. Barrett Glasser has been playing lights out this year at safety. We moved him to safety from cornerback. And Kai Rygaard had a pick 6 last night that got called back for apparent and pass interference, which I still don't quite understand that call, but that's neither here nor there. But, it's just Jawan Mack at linebacker for us again this year. It's just the Patrick Robertson, he's our sniffer and our defensive end. He hardly ever comes off the field. It's just like you said, we have unsung heroes on this team, and we don't have one big standout guy. And that's what we've always, molded ourselves around at Cox. We have a lot of unselfish football players. And that's what helps us. Our slots and receivers block for our running backs, our quarterbacks, our pitch guys. There's just so many unselfish football players on this team. And that's part of the reason why we're 8-2 right now.
Our full conversation with Cox football coach Tyler Noe is available on YouTube at Cova Sports TV. Stick around. A portion of our chat with Warhill football coach Jerome Rhodes comes your way next on 757 Sports Talk.
Is there a guy that has done a great job, a kind of maybe unsung job, and that you didn't really think much about him at the beginning of the year, but then, in your staff meetings, you're all saying, boy, if we had this guy's come through, thank God he has. Is there a player or two that you can mention that's saying that he's really come through for you?
Yeah, there's actually 2 of them. I did not. Well, he's a great kid, and I know coaches say this all the time about certain kids on the team, but it's true. Ryan Klein does a fantastic job for us on both sides of the ball with no statistics. He plays a Z position for us. It's like a fullback, H-back type of kid. And then, of course, he plays every linebacker spot on the defensive side of the ball. And he gets really ticked off at the coaches for taking him off the field. He's the senior. And then if you got 11 guys like Ryan Klein, you can win the state championship. He's won. I was expecting to get that kind of leadership and play from him. But it was another kid, Caden Scales is doing a good job for us on the defensive side of the ball and even at the tight end spot that, I didn't necessarily expect for him to have that kind of year that he's having for us. But, Braden Turns, it's and these are seniors. These are seniors that were a part of what sort of the 5-5, 5-6 year we had last year, and they were a part of that 12-1 team that we had, when they were sophomores. So they got the feeling of what it's like to win, and they got the feeling of what it's like to to come up short. And they did a great job of stepping up, and Thomas Black and Logan Brown and all of our seniors, they've done a good job, but particularly Ryan Klein is one guy that you can't miss on. You get, like I said, you get 11 of those guys, you got a state championship.
Yeah, Klein's certainly the unsung hero for you in so many ways. Definitely see all district honors in the Bay Rivers and perhaps all region accolades in his future. We're chatting with Jerome Rhodes. He's the head football coach of the Warhill Lions. 8-2 on the year, 6 straight wins as they get ready for their playoff matchup in Region 4A against the Smithfield Packers. It's a rematch of a game they lost earlier this season. It's the 3-6 matchup in 4A, where you also have Hampton hosting Manor, Phoebus hosting Churchland, and Lafayette hosting Denby. Coach Rhodes is our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Tell us more about Braden Turns, because he's coming off that. You just beat Gloucester 48-12 to close out the season, but the game before that against Tad that you won 36-14. I mean, he was really impressive. Saw some footage, 16 rushes, 194 yards, couple scores, had like 10 tackles, 2 sacks. Really one of the more underrated two-way players in the area, isn't he?
He is, and he's an animal. Like that, the kid. He's been telling us, he said it last year to us, he said, Coach, I can run the ball, because he was at the Z spot for us last year. And he said, I can run the ball. I said, okay, we're going to give you a shot at it this year. And he did. And he's come out, man. He's been playing like, lights out, hair on fire. And this kid is flying around the football on the defensive side. And we didn't even start him out there on the defense. We just let him play the running back spot at the tailback, and he's done a great job for us there. But then he stepped over on the defensive side. He's like, I can do it, Coach. I'm fine. I can play it. Because we typically like to keep our running backs sort of fresh on the offensive side of the ball. But, he's a singer. You don't want to hold singers back. And he stepped up here on the defensive side. And he doesn't want to come off the field. And I just told him, I said, look, guess what? You're not coming off the field on defense. You're going to stay out there. And the kid is, he's been making plays for us, on both sides of the ball. But particularly, it's really helped us out on the defensive side of the ball. He's shown up and filled a spot, a void that, we really needed on the defensive side.
Now, I know cliche it is sometimes when we throw it to coaches about it's a new season, that didn't matter, but I'm sure there's a lot of extra motivation and anger, if you will, from your guys, because you lost to Smithfield the last time you played them 32-29 back on September 19th. Tell me about that game and how much you pay attention to what happened in that previous encounter for this upcoming rematch, or do you try to throw out so much of it because that was so long ago and we're a different team now, they're a different team now?
Yeah, well, we're throwing that out. That's they're different. We're different. Coach Parker does a fantastic job with Smithfield. I tell you what, those guys, you can tell they're well coached. Smithfield did a great job against us in the first game, and I'm sure they're going to do a great job here in this game. And we're going to give our all. But those kids are well coached over in Smithfield, and so and I don't feel like it is of course it's a new season, because after this one, if you don't win, you go home. But we should always, and I tell the kids all the time, we're going to prepare well enough to beat the best team on our schedule. Like, that's the way you have to play every single week. You do that, you beat the best team on your schedule that night, and you continue to play. So that's sort of our mentality there when it comes to the in any part of the season. Playing Smithfield again, we're of course we're very familiar with each other, but Coach Parker and I go back to the Peninsula District as well. So we've been playing against each other for a while. I respect him wholeheartedly and the work that he's done. We're excited to be playing a great football team. I don't like playing teams that aren't very good, that aren't well coached. It makes us better as people, as players, when we play really good talent. And Smithfield has some talented guys, and they got a talented coach, and we're excited to be playing them again.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you guys were winning that game late, was it? They got the kickoff, and then did they kick a field goal or score? I forget how it transpired at the end of that game.
Yeah, well, we had issues kicking that whole night. We had issues kicking, and they got great field position. And there's not to take anything away from Smithfield at all. They did exactly what they needed to do to beat us. And it's like I said, it's less about our opponents and more about us and executing. But we didn't play well. We didn't do a good job in the kicking game. We didn't do a good job at our special teams. And they got great field position and they capitalized on it. And we had young guys out there. We had a freshman at free safety that was sort of his first start. And they took advantage of our free safety. And then we had both our inside linebackers were out and they took advantage of that as well. Which, I don't take anything from it, but we didn't play well, and it's that's on us. We gotta play better. But late in that game, yeah, we were up, and then they put one. They had great field position and threw one deep down the middle, where our free safety wasn't, and they capitalized on it. They scored, and we had the ball with about a minute, 11 seconds left, and we couldn't move it from our own. I believe we were on our own 10-yard line, and we couldn't move the ball.
Hey, Alexa, was Ed Young involved at the Admirals hockey game fight?
From Wikipedia.org. As Young entered the fight, French fire shot away the intrepid S-4 topmast.
Yikes!
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Well, you heard it right there. Alexa told you. You were a problem, Ed. You were definitely a problem. While they were fighting at Eric Scope. All your fault. All your fault. In fact, look at this, in the penalty box. Right there.
The ice police.
Yeah. What do you have to say for yourself?
Now, what can I say? I'm sitting there with the jersey on, and they caught me.
We got visual evidence, but let's get
back.
But
I gave them a good pow right in the kisser.
I'm sure you did. Let's get back to the playoff projections, or not even projections, the playoff pairings, because they're set for the postseason. We left off with Class 3. Region A will go down to Class 1 here. Lake Taylor is the top dog. Hanksler's got 3 rings in pursuit for number 4.
And I think he will have a great shot of getting it because he's going to go through this. This might be the proverbial his little tournament to lose. Look for Petersburg, New Kent. I'm going to lean towards New Kent to come out of that against Lake Taylor.
Hopewell could knock off New Kent in the first round. And by the way, Norcom played Lake Taylor pretty close for about a half, but only 3 teams above 500. I think it's Lake Taylor's region for sure. 3B, same deal for Kettle Run here?
Yeah, Kettle Run. I'm going to come out. This is going to be a little crazy to say. Goochland, one of my favorite schools to say. Mm-hmm. I think if we get a 7-2 upset, there it is.
Really?
So, okay. Yeah, and I think that helps Kettle Run run right through this and possibly play Skyline for that title.
Okay. You mean the region's to play in a title game against Kettle Run?
Right, to play in the title game, right.
I love the junior at Skyline running back Zayden Burks. He had 332 yards rushing in his finale for the regular season, 22-26. He's in pursuit of 3,000. I'm not sure he'll get it, though, but I do see his team falling to Kettle Run in the region championship as he chases 3K. 3C. Oh, look at that. Heritage Lynchburg, Liberty Christian. I just saw them not too long ago.
And I'm going to predict you're going to see them again if you go or watch it, as they'll get there. But my eyes look a lot at, for some crazy reason, Turner Ashby.
Well, you have literally in this bracket at 5, 9-1 teams, all really good, but I think it's the Pioneers and the Bulldogs, the 2-time defending state champs, LCA at the end. And I'm going to go with Heritage Lynchburg and Brad Brownlee's crew to get it done. What about 3D? Magna Vista lost that double overtime game, a heartbreaker to GW Danville, but they're explosive with Simeon Moore and Ethan Dukes.
Yeah, Magna Vista, give me them over, I hate saying the word, I mess it up every time, Botetourt.
You got it right.
I got it right.
The last 2 times Botetourt and William Byrd hooked up, 46-44 last year, region finals in double overtime, 42-41 regular season this year. I think Byrd, the Terriers, might squeak it out again, but in the end, I got Magna Vista knocking off the reigning 2-time region champion William Byrd Terriers, but Botetourt is good with that running game. Quentin Jones, he's a player. So is the quarterback Angel Rigney for Coach Jamie Harless and company. Region 2A, lots of good football here, Ed.
Yeah, some interesting teams. I think it comes down to another Richmond battle up top. A lot of athletes, some wham bam, thank you, ma'am, in terms of what you're going to see play there. And I think scheme-wise, little more X and O, Central Lunenburg and Poquoson. I keep looking at Central Lewenberg. I'm gonna edge it with Pocosin taking on Armstrong in the final.
I'm going to go Pocosin over TJ in the final. Remember, only close game Armstrong's had. They've been beating people by 20, 30-plus points all year. 40-plus points was 21-14 back in September that Armstrong won. I could see TJ winning the rematch, but I got Pocosin with that line of scrimmage play led by Carter Jones and Braden Agnes carrying the mail for them to try to make it 4 straight region titles for Elliott Duty and the Bull Islanders. To be or not to be? That is the question. Will Strasburg be the region champ yet again?
I'm going to say yes. And it'll go over Buckingham unless Stewart's draft can provide a nemesis for Buckingham.
Remember, last year, Madison County as an 8 seed knocked off a 1 seed that was unbeaten in Clark County. This year, no 8 seeds. They went with 6 teams, given the 1 and 2s buys. Region 2C, we heard from Brody Dawyot earlier with Robert Anderson. Unfortunately, he's got an injury. Not sure if he's going to play or not. If he does, I think it's them against Gretna in the region final, and they win it. If he's compromised or not available, the Hawks could take this. I think it's those two for sure in the final, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to lean that way with the exact sentiments. Brady plays, they got a great chance of winning it.
Now, you like somebody more than I do in 2D, and that's that defending champion, heart of a champion, right?
Graham started off bad. I wrote him off. They got hot. I'm going to go with them here in the play. Unfortunately, though, they're in that tough bracket because Union Bears, who I know you like, are on there, but I'm going to go Graham against Virginia High on the knocking off Ridgeview.
Remember, back on September 11th, it was Union 28-7 over Graham. Graham's a lot healthier now, but I think Keith Chandler is the difference, and I'm going to go Union over, I think, VA High as well. But Ridgeview's dangerous in Lebanon with Mike Reese at quarterback, also another capable team to make some noise in that postseason picture. What about Region 1A, the defending state champion Essex Trojans? Are they going to breeze through this?
I'm not going to say breeze, but in this particular region, you're going to have to outscore Essex. I don't think it's a matter of we're going to stop and we're going to slow them down. It doesn't. You're going to have to outscore Essex. I'm going to go Essex in this. Northumberland can give them a headache. They scored some points on them before.
Yep.
I think it would be Essex over Rappahannock.
Yeah, remember, Tyreek Lundy led Northumberland to 42 points in a loss to Essex, who scored 62 on them. Rappahannock's got that quarterback-running back duo of C.J. Kelly, Kenneth Madison, but in the end, Essex, I think their defense steps it up, and I'm not sure any of these teams have the defensive personnel to stop their running game. What about 1B? Alta Vista coming off a thrilling comeback against Gretna, their Dogwood district rival, but you got a thing for Sussex Central, don't you?
Yeah, I keep looking at Sussex Central. I remember way back in the days, way back in the days, Dwight Regan. That was one of those juggernauts in state football playoffs. Of course, this is a new day and time. And, of course, Riverheads for a while, they're 7 straight championships. So, you really convinced me in this Alta Vista. I think I'm going to go with them over Sussex Central.
All right, good deal. 1C, Giles is the 1, Craig County's the 2. I love Grayson County. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, you must know something about them. You're going with Grayson County. I was going to go Giles to win it all over Craig County, but you're starting to worry me about Grayson County. We know County's going to get there. We just don't know which county.
Well, maybe. And by the way, only loss for Craig County was to Narrows, the Green Wave, who take on George Wythe, who's been in a state final not too long ago, just like Grayson County was last year. And in 1D, the Eastside Spartans, I've been singing their praises all year long, led by two-way stud Keldon Hamilton. Rye Cove won the region over them last year. And Chilhowie, my pick for most improved, just like yours in the summertime for Lake Taylor, they've done quite well at 9-1. Will they get a rematch with Eastside?
I'm going Eastside, Rye Cove, Eastside to win it all.
There you have it. I'm going to go Eastside over Rye Cove as well. Sorry to my guys at Chilhowie. I got mad love for you still, but that's what I'm looking at. And by the way, Parker Lowe, the freshman quarterback for Honaker, set a single-game record for completions with 32 last week. He is a baller, Ed. It is time, though, before we bid adieu on this particular episode of 757 Sports Talk, to give you our college basketball Final Four picks. I remember teasing last week to end the show. We would do it next week. Here it is, my Final Four, then your Final Four. I'm going with Michigan, UConn, Texas Tech, Tennessee, and Michigan to win the whole thing. Nate Ament out of Virginia for the Volunteers to be in the title game against Michigan. You, sir, you've got one of my picks with UConn.
Yeah, I think UConn is showing some stuff early. Houston, a lot of people are picking either Houston or Florida, and some are picking Purdue as number 1 preseason. I think Duke will be there. They just have a well-rounded team, though they lost all 5 guys to the NBA starters. And my surprise team would be Louisville. Keep eyes on Arizona, Gonzaga, and a team outside of the top 25 right now. Watch St. Mary's.
That's going to do it for this edition of 757 Sports Talk. For the coach, Ed Young, I'm Matthew Hatfield. We'll catch you next time right here on Cova Sports TV. See you later.